Support Pro Play Games on Patreon.
What's up, guys? We are live here at the Dragon Ball Super Nationals. We played it not so well day one. We were on a pretty good list, but just self-sabotaged ourselves. But day two came back strong. We were playing the UW format. Is that what it's called? UW. So that means only stuff with like since Unisons came out. So no Vegeta Final Flash, no Bergamo, no stuff like that. No broken old stuff. So this is a new format that Bandai is testing out, and hopefully a lot of people will take interest in it. I think we had like over 100 people or something in the event. So we will be profiling the main version of the deck, like the standard version, on the Patreon. So make sure you guys subscribe on there if you're looking into competitive Dragon Ball content. This one's kind of like a for fun format right now, but it might be supported in a real format in the future for Bandai events. So we're just going to have to, stay tuned for that. But for now, let's go over that, because that placed us 13th place, which honestly should have been 7th, but it didn't matter. Everybody got the same prize for top 16, unless you got first, second, or third. Robbie getting third, so shout out to him. So Sun Gohan Leader, of course, everybody knows what this guy does. I'm not going to really go over him, but he's super value, super good. So I want to call this a black and yellow control deck. It's not really a higher dragon deck because it doesn't play any of the higher dragon cards other than the vanilla that you need to play. And black because it plays a lot of black cards. Usually when you see people talk about the color black, it's because they're actually going all black. But this deck is almost even half and half, honestly. So the black cards, big MVPs in the deck and in the mirror matches, actually. Just overall very good card. Shout out to Juan for this because he's the one who put the team on this. Is the Scions, very good. Normally the play line for this is you play it for 1, you attack for 10, then you can pop it off, bring out 2 higher dragon skill list cards from your deck. Sure, you lose the Unison, but it doesn't matter. The Unison that you want sticking around is a Unison. But yeah, attacking first is definitely a free attack. And then this essentially for 1 mana creates 2 bodies that are 5k combos, or with your leader, they become a mini super combo in a way. So this card, ultimate value. Like, this is your best turn 1 play, and in our main event build, we played 3, but because this was like Unison Warrior format, no sideboard, we just decided to go 2 because we had a lot of black cards. And, obviously you got to charge yellow. You can't charge black cards. So yeah, this guy, amazing. Then we played Max Power Kamehameha. This card was just an MVP all weekend. Shout out to the team. Giancarlo specifically, that was like jamming this, all the time. And I felt like this was an auto include. The card is just so good, especially because in this format, Sin's around. But even in like standard format, like this can kill Kefla, Pan, like anything really. Like this card is just great. I even used it as a negate and bought it back sometimes just for extra value. To round out the Overrealm package for the black cards was double Secret Identity and SS4 Bardock. Normally this would be Fu, but obviously Fu is not legal in this format. So we tried out Trey's favorite Overrealm card, even though I don't think this card is great. Honestly, it's all right. Against yellow, it's obvious. It's one of the best, one of the worst cards. Like you just have to combo this out because it's never gonna do anything. But I did win a game off of this, so as much trash as I talk about this card, it does get in there sometimes. And then this is just the best Overrealm, I think, for the foreseeable future. This card is just insane. 25k body, infinite value, great against the mirror match. Blows the board, gets rid of tokens, even the tokens with blockers that people bring out all the time. And yeah, this card is just ridiculous. I'll always play 2 for the most part. Next for the black cards, we played an Oceanus Negate. So this card is actually surprisingly really good. In the standard version of this deck, don't play it. But 2 mana is very expensive. You also have to discard a card. But in the mirror match, very good. They can't really afford to attack even once into this, and if they do, you put you risk them decking out because they just draw that many cards. But this being a blocker essentially says your opponent has to mill 8 to try to connect with you, because the first attack through this you're blocking, they're milling 4, and then the second attack they're milling another 4, and then it can actually negate. At which point you can still negate with like a riposte or something like that. But yeah, 2 energy is a lot, which is why we only played 2. But yeah, the card did a lot of work this weekend. It's also black, so you can't really charge it. Double Poutine. This card is just insane. Back when we were playing blue-yellow, this was one of, but since we've transitioned to a quote-unquote mono-yellow, still with a heavy black splash, this card has just been MVP. The earlier you see this card, more value this really brings you, and it's just this is just one of the best cards, honestly, and was glad I was able to see it almost every time that I needed it. The super combo split, this would normally be Zamasu. Only difference between Zamasu and this, Zamasu can rest battle cards, this can only rest unisons and leaders. Still very good, this won me a match. And then triple Krillin. It was for Krillin for a long time, but I like having the flexibility. Krillin is more important now than ever because you're playing more extra cards. But honestly, the deck has a lot of 5Ks. You always have higher dragons to combo out. It's just, this card is insane.
Honestly, I think these monsters should be replaced by this only because the Soul Striker match. Realistically speaking, they're gonna. If you swing with Unison first, if you swing with Leader Striker, you're still screwed. It's like you're having power of Super Sins while using power of Super Sins.
Yeah, this card is nobody sees this card.
They really don't. It's really, really good.
Yeah, very good. Next for the so this is the extra card package. I think we played just around 10 in both versions. I think this one has 9 because you don't have Vegeta's Final Flash in the format, which is a really big piece of the deck. Power of Super Saiyan, obviously one of the best cards ever. It doubles up as a negate, and the effect obviously to cycle itself. You cycle it a lot in this deck just to draw an extra card. Forbidden Power. This is normally Nimbus, what Nimbus would be in the main board, or some number of Final Flashes. This card was actually surprisingly really good. I was able to. This is essentially just like a. This is like a pan? Yeah, a pan, because the counterattack. So you do it like on leader or unison, and then they could only attack with a battle card for the rest of the turn. Or if you do this on a battle card, they can only attack one more time on top of that with the battle cards, but they can still get the unison battle card swing. This card was mostly energy, but there are times that this card either goes in for game because it has an activate battle offensively for a 10k combo and a rest offensively, ignoring barriers. So in the mirror match, you actually get rid of Poutine. Or defensively, it's your extra card, yellow, floodgate card. But yeah, that did definitely go in. MVP all weekend, the best extra card probably that we were playing was Frieza's Army Reinforcements, 3 of in both this list and the standard list. Just being able to take your life at whim, bring out a blocker. You're going for game. They're trying to attack your battle cards. Well, guess what? I'm going to take an extra life. I'm going to defend my life at the same time, or defend my battle card at the same time from another attack. Keep my board pressure on and get more card advantage so I can kill you with on the crackback. Was insane. So this card, very good. Still a yellow extra card that reduces the cost of riposte and all those things. For the Higher Dragon package, we played 3 of the Gohan art and 2 of the napping art. I was really torn between which one to play, so I just played both. 5 copies because specifically you wanted to resolve your Scions. In order to resolve your Scions, you need to be able to have these in the deck or in the drop. There was, I think, 2 times today, even with this count, that I wasn't able to get 2 of them from one section or the other. So, thing to note, you want to have, if you're going to play this, definitely play more than 4. But yeah, the higher dragons are obviously needed so that you can combo them off, do shenanigans. You also turn into like a pseudo aggro deck with this. This actually got in a lot for the +1. So once you start +1ing this guy, you can immediately start continuing to +1 him. Remember, your leader just continues to keep bringing out these higher dragons. So if your opponent's like trying to attack your battle cards and these start like multiplying on board, this becomes like 15, 15, 15, 15. And the mirror match is insane. And yeah, against most decks, it's honestly insane. If they don't have Beam, then it can get super out of control. And then next is the Lord Slug package. Shout out to Andrew Duvall. We were testing these during our Icarus. When we were doing Icarus testing, this was like a mainstay for the most part. The only thing that this was really suboptimal against was against aggro. And this was like the main thing that didn't transition a lot into our team playing versus what Andrew was playing, but everything else was kind of like on the same keynote. So that's why both being able to have both of those pods like giving their input on these cards was huge, because it did really just come down to like what you ended up playing against, because this can be really insane in some matchups, depending on what you run into, or it can be like really suboptimal. But at the end of the day, the yellow cards that are 5Ks, that that means you can charge them and you can combo them. So also cantrips are really good in aggro. Like you can play this turn 1 against aggro, use it to out combo their leader swing, and this card essentially grabs this. So this is essentially 6 1-mana draw 1 cards, which is obviously good. We played this for the format because King Cold's in the format, very strong. Also, this was really good against the red Broly deck, the new red Broly decks, which I played one of. Yeah, dude. As soon as I read his leader, I was like, oh, you play around extra cards. I had to read all his cards. I'm like, oh, you play extra cards. Okay. Turn 3, this guy. And he just lost. I turn 3'd him here, and then turn 4, I was like Lord Slug into this. So then I had double barrier threats, obviously keeping this in rest. And having this, they're both barriers, so you can never remove the bond. And this is literally a tag team force against like decks that can't beat that. They don't have a good time against that. And they're both 20k, so if they play any unison, you just win them both at unison. Yeah, this guy was great in the main board because there's no sideboard in this format, at least for now, for the best of 1. So I just wanted to main it. Otherwise, I would have side decked it. And then our MVPs from set 15, guys. These have already doubled in price, the Sun Gohans, and these are about to double in price. So pick these up if you haven't already. These cards are insane. I don't know if you've actually read these yet.
PPG promo code right
Yeah,
now,
PPG promo. Go on PPG, and I guarantee you'll get these cheaper than any other website. So even if you go on TCG Player, you'll always find PPG to be the lowest price. So definitely check it out. But yes, 4 of these, no less. Like, don't even think about it. Like, don't play yellow without these 2 cards. Well, maybe this if you're not playing like extra card version, but I don't know if that even exists other than Sin. But this card is just cracked. Like, this is literally, it says 2 mana, 20k, double strike, and then kill something, and then kill another thing and draw a card. So it's just it's just dumb. Like, you're paying 1 mana for the 20k double strike body, and then you're paying another mana to like draw a card. It's just dumb. This card is ridiculous. I always want this card. Sometimes I do see a lot of them, and I only really need to play like 2 of them, but you just want to make sure you see this card because this is like your sole form of removal. And these 2 are match made in heaven. They literally play anything. You play this, play it in rest mode, you draw a card, then it's a blocker, you don't die, and then next turn, you're like, oh, the card that I rested, by the way, kill it, and draw another card. Like, dumb. These cards are literally easily $20 cards. Make sure you get them. Peace, bro. Have a good one. And then on to the bread and butter. Riposte. Of course, you need Riposte. Like, this card is ridiculous. Yes, at one point in time, I was playing 3 of them, but I have learned the way. This card is literally just one of the GOAT cards ever. Just 1 mana negate that can really put your opponent into a bind because now they have to like manage their resources more effectively. The only thing that this sucks against is if they play like leader cards, field cards and stuff like that, they can rest the field card. And if they, obviously this doesn't affect Unison, but it does affect leader, which is pretty big. For the Unisons, triple trunks, like this guy's such a house. A lot of people are playing 2, including Trey. I think that's incorrect. This card is insane. You need 3. Like, this card is, Trey loves this card, which is more the reason why you want to see this card. This deck does not revolve around Unisons. You have nothing in your deck that just like does extra stuff if you have Unisons. So it's not really the end of the world if you don't see this guy. Like, you can go a whole game without seeing this guy and you're perfectly fine. But if you see this guy, he's a monster. 20k. Back in the day, we were putting Bean on this and just slapping people's faces off with 25k duel. Can't do that anymore, but it's still more than fair. 20k is insane. It says, show me your super combo. I want to eat super combos. I'm very hungry. So this guy's actually insane. The -3, super relevant. There's times that I've casted this guy for 3, charge another one, attack, then -3, keeps him alive, and then the opponent has to like direct their energy at killing this. If you untap with this card, you're like, you're so far ahead, it's insane. And then the fourth Unison. Well, technically, if you want to count the other Unisons, this is Unison number 4, 5, 6, 7. There's a lot of Unisons in this deck, but the other one doesn't stick around. These are the sticky ones. Meki Gabora. I think the one was fine. I didn't really get to. Ooh, I played this against Gotenks, and I locked down their dual attacker. That was fun. But yeah, this guy's really good. But he's 4 energy. So the good thing is you can tap out on this guy. You can't really tap out on this Trunks. Like, you don't at least want to. You want to put this on 3. But Meki was good. Also, because all these kind of sustain a big marker advantage. Like, this comes down on 3. Doesn't really like minus itself unless it wants to kill itself. And this goes up immediately to 5. Because we played all those cards, we actually also played the tech for this format, which was Return of the Dragon Fist. This guy, when he was spoiled, I was like, man, I really want to play this guy, and I finally had the opportunity to do so now because we had such a limited card pool. This guy was incredible. Like, he won me, I want to say, like 2 games. He is a 10K, which is why I only played 2. I don't like having like a lot of 10Ks. You can't really combo and be as flexible as you want to. And if I saw this guy early, I was just charging him. Because like I said, you're not a Unison-based deck. But when the games go long, you play Unison. You can play Trunks on 4, play this on 5, GG, or you can play Mechikabura on 4 and tap out, and then play this on 5. So both versions of, like, if you're on this game plan, you can both cast the Unisons on 4 and then play this, and it was just insane. This essentially says your opponent can't, they could only negate this guy. They could only negate, but they can't, like, super combo against this guy. They can't riposte you.
You can't use battle card negates.
Can't use battle card, yeah. Battle card negates, super combos, like, this guy was a house, but I probably wouldn't play more than 2, unless I was, like, super on that guy. Last 2 cards, I was borrowing them. It was the Android 17 and 18. That card actually won me, like, 3 games. That card's insane. I remember, like, these guys were on it for a while. Remember the 17 and 18 Bringers of Apocalypse?
Yeah,
that card.
We were tempted to side.
Yeah, that guy comes down for 4 if you have a skill list. So because your leader literally says Reborn and skill list on the backside, it's always 4 mana. Because you go leader, bring back the skill list, draw a card. This guy now is 4 mana. Congratulations.
He's a triple striker that makes 2 different cards on your board.
Yes, vanilla. Yes,
and then you can swing with them twice.
Exactly. So. Essentially, he comes down for 4, deflect, right? Deflect is huge.
And he negates anything on the board, basically.
Triple strike. Negates as many cards on the board as you like, which what I did a lot was I would make my, like, riposte of vanilla, a skill list card, because you can target as many cards on both players' field. So you can target your own and your opponent. So I would obviously, like, know all my opponent's cards, but then I would also know my own cards. For the reason is this guy, you can place him in the drop area at any point. Like, after you're done with him, after you swing in for that 25k, triple strike, you can literally sack him off to restand all your restand 2 skillless cards.
Yeah,
2 skillless with cost 4 or less. So because you made your your riposte or whatever card, honestly, you can even make your Lord Slug skillless if you wanted to, because it ignores barrier. By the way, this guy ignores barrier on choosing everything and actually making it vanilla. Once you do that, like, you can go attack. All right, kill this guy off, restand your attackers. Obviously, the restriction is that the energy cost has to be 4 or less on the restand, but there is no restriction on the, what you vanilla. So that guy was insane. Also very good against Sin in the format because they have a bunch of blockers. You can win through an ultimate. You can win through a Sin ultimate easy. They tap out for Sin ultimate, feeling all safe and stuff because they have, like, barrier blockers. You're dead because this guy just comes in. So he won me a couple games against Sin Channel. Final card, secret rare of choice is Supreme Kai. I played a very spicy one. In the main event, and like I said, I'll be posting the standard deck on the Patreon for everybody interested. But this card was particularly good in this format specifically because, and why it's better than Pan, is because aggro isn't as oppressive as it is in the standard format. Like, you don't have Gogeta Xeno at full power, so, like, you're not, like, super pressed on, like, having the Pan. You were just more concerned about, like, their board control and, like, Sin particularly, because if you don't have that Bringers of Apocalypse card, you can't possibly deal with, like, all the bodies and all the things that they have out on board. This was also MVP against Gotenks, dealing with their Unison and, like, all their crazy things. So this was super good. I didn't really wish it was Pan at all this weekend, but I played a different secret that was this or Pan in the standard deck. But
I'm pretty sure I told you to play that last night when we were at dinner.
Yeah, this card is insane. I mean, honestly, this might have been just better in the main event too. I don't know. We'll see.
I got blew up by it.
But yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Like I said, we're going to be posting the standard deck on the Patreon, and we'll be seeing Andrew Duvall's list as well too on there. We'll probably have him join us. That's pretty much it. That was my top 16 on the 100-person side event for Nationals, and hopefully see you guys next time. Peace.